So now we have our color and our basic blocking. We can start to think about adding some light. I'm thinking about the light is coming from the left hand side. This is the way that I've been working. So this green is on the left hand side of the rocks. We don't have so much color on the right hand side of those rocks in the middle. So yeah, our light source is going to be coming from a left hand side. So first of all, I'm going to select the river layer and the glow brush. Now what I want to do is add the impression that the light is hitting the top of this river. So just brushing over this gently with the glow brush, and when I deselect it, you'll see what it's done. And deselect the layer there, and now we have this bright area in the distance. That's also created a lot more distance because there's now a variation between the foreground of this river and the background. So I'm going to create a new layer and select the shadow map. We're going to select a very light blue on the color wheel, because if you go too dark with the shadow map, it's literally going to come out completely black. So we want to be way up in those light areas on the color picker, and it's always going to come out dark because it's replicating a shadow. And again, we've got a blue color selected. Generally shadows are of a blue color. And we're just looking to create a little bit more variation between the foreground and the background by putting a little bit of this shadow down the left hand side of the river. We've created a kind of a bank. Now I'm dropping a little bit on the right hand side as well. We can just test out how dark this is going to go on the back of these rocks here. Try out a few of these smaller rocky areas on this beachfront. Now, using a thin brush, we're using the thin pastel brush. We can actually draw in some detail with the shadow map. I'm just knocking back the bright values of some of these areas. Add in some pockets of shadow and texture. Now I'm starting to draw on these rock faces here. The shadow map tends to work like a marker, so you are going to be able to preserve the values underneath, and it's like a wash. So all the values stay relative to each other. Drop a bit more of the shadow in the background there. This might be too dark for the background. No, that's okay. Okay, we can use that. So we're just going over the background now, changing some of the values of these the cracks in the side of this mountain side. Adding some shadow areas, and again some more texture. Just breaking up some of these big shapes. And our lights, of course, was coming from the left-hand side, so a lot of our shadows are going to be on the right side of this mountain. Keep working across the whole of the painting with the shadow map. Change the value a little bit. Change the value down there. Introducing a bit more contrast. Okay, so now we're ready to go in with some highlights. So I'm going to colour pick the green, and then I'm going to boost the colour. So this is a warmer green that we've got selected because this is where the sun is hitting the side of this this rock face here. And this is going to give us our highlights. Just add small areas here and there. We don't want to block this in huge great big blocks of colour straight away. You just want to drop in small little areas. variations in size and shape will help to keep this looking fairly random. Boost the colour a little bit more. And this is going to be one of the brightest areas of the painting because we've got the high contrast from this rock face in the foreground. Dropping in some small areas of light, just here and there we'll have some spots of sunlight hitting the sides of rocks or the grass. Remembering to leave some of the rocks that we left on the first colour pass. In the background I've gone back to a blue-green, but we've increased the value. Now I'm going to drop the river onto the main layer, and we're going to start to blend the river into these sandbanks. So I'll zoom in a little bit, pick the grabber, pull that across. First of all, I'm just going to do some variations on the actual river and where it's flowing through the landscape. I want to add a few more rivers that are breaking away from this main piece. So we can color pick and then just add some extra pieces in here and there. A few more in the background. Another one here and there. Break up some of these edges if they are appearing to be too narrow. You can leave some of those original darker areas. They'll just turn into rocks that are sitting within the river. A little bit more detail on these banks, a little bit of variation on the texture of the water as well. This is starting to sit within the painting a bit better than it did. Break up these shapes down here. I'll zoom out and see what we've got. Okay, so that looks much better than it did. Now I'm selecting the glow brush again. I'm just going to add some highlights to the atmosphere, try to create some more distance and give the feel that this light hitting these faces from the left hand side. Very gently does it with the glow brush. If you press too hard on it, it's going to just completely blow the colour out. So very gently just build this layer up. Try and create atmosphere and some edges to these mountains in the background. Can probably speed this up a little bit as well, just so you can see it. Okay, now I'm going to scale the glow brush down, and we're going to add and we're going to add some more highlights to the sides of these rocks, these mountains. You can see the green starts to increase with value as you go over it with the glow brush. And again, you don't want to overdo this. It's a very similar brush to Color Dodge, which is quite common in a lot of digital softwares. And that's it for this session. So the last video will be detailing.